Stephen Meade, our next presenter, is going to make his way up there. And Stephen is the founder of MonetaPro. You heard him speak a couple times at the show. Let's give him a big round of applause. Welcome, Stephen.
Are these still on? There we go. No, it's good. Good. We'll let them get loaded up. I always like starting with a blank screen, and I also like starting with a question. And the question for the morning is, how many of you like money? All right, not a trick question, but most of us do. Here's what I learned. When the world started out, commerce started out as what's called barter. I've got chickens, you've got milk, let's trade. But there became a problem. If I've got chickens and you don't want them, but I still want your milk, how do we create portability? So the world of portability and true commerce started from what's called the Moneta seashells. This is the first form of portable currency, and the word money actually comes from the word moneta. And that's actually what our company is. I have to watch that. Our company's called MonetaPro, and what it is, it's a closed-loop platform for what's called global corporate barter. And not everybody's aware of what corporate barter is, but it actually, in terms of size of the market, is a $17 trillion industry. Trillion with a T, non-cash trading. And what that is in the US, 72% of the Fortune 500 companies participate in this activity, and the average trade is $1 million or more. You might say, well, I haven't heard of this. What do they trade? Pretty simple, all kinds of global commodities. Companies trade cars for computers, airlines for hotel rooms, media for other assets. Hotel rooms trade for toilet paper and sheets and towels, and all sorts of global commodities are being traded, but the problem is it's still manual. It's a one-to-one transaction. Meaning if I've got cars and I want computers from Michael or Rex or Stevie, I have to call them, I have to manually negotiate the value of each trade, I have to determine the transaction, I have to agree on value, we have to consummate it, track it, report it, trade it. Very cumbersome. And if it's such a big industry, you might say, well, if it's so complicated, why don't they just sell for cash? This is what we ran into years ago. We actually tried to launch this many years ago, and you would always hear, why don't they just sell for cash? And there's some very interesting reasons. Financially, if you're the CFO of Ford and you have $1 million of cars left at the end of the year, your option is to discount them on the lot, mark them down 20%, you just lost the value, sell them and pay taxes, and you also kill your distribution channel because now your new models nobody's going to buy. So the higher returns in the world of corporate trade, they trade assets at full value. It also helps manage your cash flow. If I can trade cars and receive computers back without spending cash, that cash remains on my balance sheet. So now I've preferred my cash flow, and also it's a tax-free transaction. In the US, there's some really interesting accounting applications where now I just got rid of $1 million of cars, received $1 million of value, and didn't pay taxes on it. So it's tremendous financial leverage. What's the solution? Instead of the one-to-one offline transaction, we created a one-to-many marketplace, almost like a glorified Amazon, where now companies can list assets, but rather than receiving another commodity back, they receive something we created called a G-Buck. Very simply, a G-Buck allows you to create portability. The G-Buck stands for a general business usage credit. Think of it like a store credit. What do I do with that credit? I sell assets, I receive credit. I can now use that credit to buy assets from another party. Tires, batteries, parts, shipping. I no longer have to negotiate one-to-one. It becomes a one-to-many transaction. And the G-Buck, I want to be very clear, is not a blockchain credit. It is not a token. It is not on the chain. We always get that question like, oh, you've tokenized it. No, this is like a store credit inside Amazon. It equals $1. It can't be stolen. It doesn't fluctuate. That provides immediate financial settlement, no volatility. This is what's called a closed-loop payment system. So we've created a closed internal system for the marketing, and there's massive support within the industry. PwC has a 1,200-page white paper on the problems with corporate trade. KPMG, how difficult it is, too many moving parts, it's never been automated. So we're solving a massive problem for these corporations. The marketplace solves the automation problem. What we learned, blockchain allows us to do something today that we couldn't have done 15 years ago when we looked at this. If I transfer cars to somebody, I don't actually sell them. I give them to that person. That means my inventory system is not updated. I need to prove that I transferred that asset and I need my inventory to update. The invoicing system inside MonetaPro is written to a private blockchain, and that blockchain enables the company to, number one, update their inventory system, and two, provide proof of audit. So we're using the blockchain in a very simplistic way within the organization. This is what's called a supply chain solution. This is an enterprise level fintech and supply chain solution. That's what we've really built with a blockchain component built in. Our model is simple on revenue. We're a traditional e-commerce model, so we're not complicating the system. Moving forward, management team, Igor Barash, we brought back in. He took his first company from garage to public on NASDAQ. Jay Sato launched $3 billion markets inside of Sony. Robert Jacobson, we brought in what we call a TR director. When Leo and Neil and Michael and these guys, if you've ever had a public company, you need an investor relations director. You need an IR guy that handles your investors and another one that handles the public. And we brought in Robert internally to handle our investor relations. Rick Prendergast will bring on when we're ready, head of sales, launched American Express, some other good guys. On the advisor side, we've got part corporate, part crypto. Corporate, former head of First Data. Global operations, Roger Van Scoy. Steve Mott, former head of MasterCard. Eric Greenberg, founder of Scient, one of the largest CEO companies in the world. Hazlet, same thing down the other side. Beauregard's out of the crypto side. Greg Morrow out of the Federal Reserve. Michael, when we were talking about IR, this is a good distinction. Robert, we brought in to manage our internal token relations. Turpin and the guys were managing our external relations. So there's a distinction there that's very clear, but we think it's very, very important. Systems are complete. We're undergoing beta testing. Any of you that are interested, we can actually run a demo for you. Unlike a lot of other people, we're not theoretical white paper. Large history of companies that are active, ready to go. Experienced management team, industry-specific domain. So we brought in industry-specific experts. What's the offer? Again, we're raising money on an ICO. Total offer we're looking at is $35 million. The token is called a MON for money. We wrestled with what we should call the token. And at the end, it was the brilliance of Michael on a call somewhere in the middle of the world where he was and we were. And 2 in the morning, he goes, why don't you just call it MON? It's like money. And I went, oh. So our token's called MON for money. We've closed a couple rounds. Right now, we're currently in the $10 million round. We've closed a pre and a private. So we're at a $10 million strategic round at 50 cents. We believe we'll end up doing a $20 million public round a little bit later. We want to see where the markets shake out. Tokenomics are fixed at 200 million. And then we did something we think is unique. We haven't seen this. We like promoting this. It's called a double appreciation bonus. Any of you that actually do contribute or invest, appreciation bonus number 1, thank you. High five. But we also take a look at the tokens. If you invest, we know the market is volatile. So we'll cover the downside risk, but if the market goes up, and you've invested in any of the couple of cryptos that we accept, we'll recapitalize your investment at whatever the highest point was during that time. So we actually carry your risk to not wait hoping the market goes up. We'll carry a little bit of that risk with the recapitalization. On the exit side, the MonetaPro token has 2 options. The utilitarian function is you can actually convert it. You can return the token back into the system for us for $1 worth of credit to spend. And I joke all the time, anybody that invests, I can guarantee you a rate of return. My attorneys hate when I say that. I can guarantee I can take your 50-cent token and give you $1 worth of credit. What I can't guarantee is there's anything in the market you want to spend it on. So the risk profile is really, can we get these big companies on trading where if you have a token, you'll be able to buy cars, computers, airlines, hotels, media, PR services, things like that. We're also going I'll call it the traditional route, if you can call getting on an exchange traditional. We've got a couple exchanges that we've had some success with. Wrapping up, $35 million round. We're in the 50-cent discount, 50%. The SAFT agreement was done by Squire Patton Boggs, accredited investors only at this point. 6-month-old. We're launching the token on something called DOS33, which is a really cool financial platform out of Zurich. Gives us some more functionality with the tokens. Milestones are in place. We believe we'll have the funding done in this round within 60 to 90 days. We're looking to onboard customers and go live by the end of the year. We created something called a asset transfer, or we call it a corporate benevolence program. This is kind of cool. The way the US IRS works is if I trade assets on an exchange platform like a barter platform like MonetaPro, and I can do $1 billion of transfers tax-free, but at the end of the year, if I have 20 or 30 million left in my account, as a company, you're taxed on that. We, as MonetaPro, have to 1099 that company. What we're talking to them about is donating those tax credits off to nonprofits. So we create a double taxation bonus for them. They reduce their taxable event, get a tax bonus back, and now you shift 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars into a charity or nonprofit who can use those credits to buy brand new assets like computers and travel and not wait for governments to give them assets 3 years later on a waterfall program. So we're kind of excited about the corporate benevolence. Last slide, I think. Here we go, if we get it to work. Had some success. Those of you probably see me. We've been on the circuit since about February, March, and we've been successful. We've won 6 global contests. So I joke with people, we are the #1 ICO in the world. And I say that, and people kind of look at me and laugh because we haven't raised the most money. We haven't had the most success publicly. But in terms of contests, we've won the most contests. So I think that makes us #1 in the world for a contest. Anyway, that's me, Stephen Meade, MonetaPro.io. Thank you so much.
All right, awesome. You must have practiced that presentation because you were 10 minutes on the nose there.
Yeah, I time my stuff
You must
well.
have been warming up. That's good. All right, so any questions? Any questions? No? All right.
Okay,
I guess
thank you.
answered all the questions.